Welcome. I mean, if that didn't make you want to put a wetsuit on and jump off a boat, then I don't know what is. I promise you, I'm ready to go. Right. Welcome everyone. Click in and say hi. We've got the incredible, her royal Jeffness, Tanya Meth with us today, and Judy from the NSRI. Guys, thank you for joining us. I mean, it's obviously it's our nautical workout on Saturday. We're doing an NSRI workout tomorrow morning, and I believe on Saturday I have to do a full workout in a wetsuit, which is going to be interesting. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Tanya, everyone knows you in the community. Judy, you are a Jeffer too, which makes us even better. Tell us about what is your involvement with the NSRI. Go for it. Let us know before we get into it.
Yeah, so Johno, both Judy and I are what we call PR guest speakers within the NSRI. So, you know, most people that know me know that I like to talk. So obviously I talk for a living. So, yeah. So what our function is that we are part of the fundraising department. Is that we go around and we talk to a lot of retirees in retirement villages. We talk to schools. We organize events and tours of our rescue bases. And yeah, we create awareness. Because I think a lot of people don't realize how much sea rescue are actually involved in and what we do. We create a lot of awareness, but as well, and raise funds as well. So yeah.
Awesome, guys. That's awesome that you're so involved in such an incredible cause. I mean, like whenever we think growing up in South Africa, we see NSRI with you reminded of a big red boat or rubber duck or whatever it may be out there in the sea. Tell us, what is the NSRI? And like, how did the whole organization come about in the beginning?
So, Johno, the NSRI is the organization that saves lives on South African waters, not only the sea, but on all bodies of water in South Africa. And the vision of sea rescue is saving lives, changing lives, and creating this. And I've been thinking so much about this and about the incredible synergy that I feel between Jeff and the NSRI, because you know what? I also feel like this is something that Jeff is doing, saving lives, changing lives, and creating futures. So really great to kind of, bring the two together this week. So how the NSRI began. So in 1966, one fateful night, 17 fishermen lost their lives off of Still Bay. And an elderly lady here pictured on the slide here by the name of Patty Price started a very fervent letter writing campaign to the press. She had herself been rescued by the RNLI in England, in the English Channel many years before. And she was a very passionate lady. She was a very courageous lady. And it bothered her that we didn't have a sea rescue service in South Africa. So she started this letter writing campaign. And eventually in 1967, the Master Mariners Association donated a £5,000 check to start what was then called the South African Inshore Rescue Service. And that is how the NSRI was born. And we started out with 2 volunteers in 1967 and our very first little rescue boat named Snoopy. And yeah, that's how it all began back in the day.
Super interesting, huh? So that was back in the day. Snoopy was the first boat out there, really rocking it. That actually looks quite modern for all those years back as well, huh? So that is super interesting, guys. I'm loving this. I'm a bit of a historian, so I'm in my elements over here. Tell us today, how many boats do you have? How many crew is there across South Africa?
Okay, so how's it? So in 54 years that we've been operational, we have gone from the one boat with 2 crew members and no stations to 43 stations around the country and over 1,400 unpaid volunteers, and about 90 to the station commander doesn't get paid a cent. So that saves the NSRI in excess of 350 million rand related salaries. It's, thanks to these amazing humans that we can actually go out to sea and rescue people. and they're on call 24/7 all year round. And they rescue any person or animal without prejudice. But as I said, they could come to the station with absolutely no knowledge of boats or the ocean, and they will go through a whole training process, mostly from their senior crewmen on the station. But the organizations also put together an e-learning platform, basically to standardize all their training so that everyone around the country, whether you're based in Cape Town or Durban or Port Elizabeth, you same training, a similar rescue operation, and everything to become like clockwork. And that's why they put in hours and hours of training. Normally a crew will train at least once a week, and the types of things that they and skills that they will learn is everything from sea-based boat operational stuff to firefighting, to all civil emergency type scenarios. So firefighting, swift water training. I mean, we just had an example down in the Western Cape where Rafis on the Ent River came down in floods, and we actually had to rescue some farmers and farm workers with a couple of dogs and even a snake. So swift water rescue, firefighting, all our guys are first aid trained to level 3. And yeah, it's an ongoing process to make sure that everyone is upskilled, because the most important thing is if our volunteers are putting their lives on the line to go and help us, we need to make sure that they have the best skills and the safest boats and equipment to do their jobs, and so that we can bring them safely back to their loved ones.
That's amazing. I mean, sure. It's amazing how people are skilled, you know, without anything. Sure. Yeah, it's incredible. Okay, so you've got your volunteers, all right? But you got your volunteers, they're there now. What does the NSRI actually do? You know, from that purpose, what do they do? Tell me about that.
Okay, cool. So our 3 objectives, and everyone knows about, and we'll be talking about responding to emergencies on South African waters. So that's our reactive element. We've got 3 objectives. The one is reactive rescue. So any call for emergency, we will respond to that. And that can be absolutely anything. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But then education is a huge part of what we do. You know, it's no use just responding to emergencies, but we've actually got to teach everybody, and we focus on children in particular, about how to stay safe in and around water, but also who and what to do in the case of an emergency. And we've got a wonderful water safety program that we do, where we teach children, especially junior school children, and those are in underprivileged backgrounds. And then drowning prevention is massive. I mean, statistics in South Africa are quite huge. About 1,500 people in South Africa every year. So drowning prevention is really important for us as a forward-thinking organization, as a charity, to try and reduce those statistics. And we've got 3 initiatives that we've been focused on over the last few years. And, you know, the one is we've started having NSRI lifeguards on various beaches, just training them up to our standards, to making sure that there is someone there visible, especially during peak season. They can use our equipment again, they get the standardized training. And then also we've started a survival swimming program, and I think Tanya's going to tell you a little bit about that just now. But yeah, so that is actually taking children and putting them into the water and teaching them some survival swimming techniques. And then of course there is our Pink Rescue Boy campaign, and that is to really assist in peer rescue.
Yeah, I've heard a bit about this Pink Rescue Boys thing. Tanya, tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so yeah, something I'm very, very passionate about. It's an incredible sea rescue initiative. So basically, some years ago, 2017 is when it was developed. we realized that we were responding to a lot of what we call bystander rescues. Now, what that means is that when somebody's in trouble in the water and a bystander or another family member or a friend will go in to save that person and potentially also get themselves into trouble. So a little bit later, we'll talk about rip currents. We have a lot of rip currents and a very rough coastline in South Africa. So what we did was we developed a flotation device that can be put out on the beaches and around dams and lakes and rivers all around South Africa and all around our coastline that can be used by the public. So they pink because we're the only organization that uses pink. So they're easily identifiable and they're bright so they can be spotted easily as well. So they stand on these, if you see on the slide, they stand on these green boards and they've got very clear, simple instructions. Basically, it says, call 112 for help, throw the buoy to the person, do not go into the water, throw the buoy to the person. The reason we say that is because we don't want anybody else to put themselves in danger. And the reason for this project is that the flotation device, if you can get the flotation device to the person that's in trouble, you can help our crews, give them a little bit of extra time to get to the person that's in trouble and to actually perform a rescue. Because very often what happens in these situations is that by the time our crew get there, it's a body recovery, not a rescue. So the importance of using having these devices and using them correctly is so important. So get the device to the person so that they can hold on to it and you can hold on to it if necessary, if you have to go into the water, but keep yourself as safe as possible. And we've basically now got about 1,000 boys that have and they're all sponsored, Johno. They cost 1,500 Rand for the entire kit, the buoy, the pole, and the board. And every single one of them is sponsored. And you can actually have your name, the company name or family name actually put on the board. Personally, my family have sponsored a pink buoy on Buckavan Beach in honor of my grandfather and my father who grew up there. And 73 lives, 73 people are alive today because as a direct result of being saved by a pink rescue buoy. So it's an incredibly important campaign. And the other thing that I want to say is, I love creating awareness around the pink buoys, especially with young kids as well. I always tell young kids when I'm talking to them, I'm making you my pink buoy policeman, because we need the public to look after our pink buoys. So if you are out on the beach, if you guys go down to the beach or you in Neisner, look out for the pink buoys, make sure that they're not missing, make sure that they're not damaged. And if they are missing or damaged, please report it to us, because a missing pink buoy is a life that can't be saved. And just something that I want to mention here is that if you ever get into a situation where somebody's in trouble in the water and there isn't a pink buoy around, anything that floats can be used as a rescue device. Even a 2-liter Coke bottle that has the cap still on, you can throw to a person and they can hold onto that until help arrives. So that's just a tip for anybody that may ever get themselves into trouble.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's basically, the more pink buoys we have out there, the more potential lives we can save. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's a nice, healthy number of 1,500 Rand. And I will right now proclaim, us from Jeff will start the pink buoy solution, and we will take a buoy and we will put it where it is most needed today. We will sort that out. That's one, and then we're going to get the community behind us. But we'll talk about a bit over the next 48 hours of how we're going to raise money, etc. Tell me, what are the typical rescues that the NSRI will respond to?
Every year is absolutely different, and it's all dependent on obviously what's going on weather-wise and people how much they are outside and enjoying things. So on average, we might rescue about 1,000 to 1,000 people every single year, in a various ways. But also we do any animal rescue, absolutely any animal that is in need, we will respond to. And so if you do see an animal you act in stress or stranded, if you contact us, we will be able to assist, or at least be able to get some help in ASAP. The types of rescues that we will do ranges from anything. So we talked about drowning in progress, just touching the pink rescue boys. So we will respond to drowning in progresses. We will assist any vessel that might need towing or have motor difficulties. Certain recreational boaters might find themselves capsized, gone out through a really rough launch or a river mouth. So we respond to vessels that may have capsized. And then South Africa being a 3,000 kilometer stretch of coastline, we have a massively active shipping industry. And a lot of the ships come from global nations, have global crew on them. And so if there's any emergency on board, often maybe a really sick seaman that needs to get ashore to a hospital, get medical attention. Sometimes they've fallen, something's landed on them, mechanical equipment. Our guys will actually go up alongside the ship and do a maritime extrication. So it's a really interesting technique where they actually have to use rope work. It's like standing next to a skyscraper, and the guys need to get a ladder and use rope to get aboard the ship to assess the casualty, and then stabilize the casualty, and then lower them back down onto the rescue vessel to get them back to the base, the station, and where we've called medics to come in and assess them and take them off to hospital. So medivacs, take up quite a lot of our rescues. We might, 2 years ago, there was the ferry down in Cape Town going to Robben Island that started taking on water, so we need to assist with that. Johno, especially you guys are down in Cape, in Knysna now, the people that hike along that coast all the time. So we will respond to hikers that may have fallen and injured themselves and can't get back to where their cars parked. The guys down in Plet often do rescue of robbers. So we will actually assist anybody. Surf skiers, makeup, and paddlers often go out to sea. We always encourage people to download our free app, which is a tracking app. It's called Safe Tracks, RS Safe Tracks. It's free to everybody. All boaters should be encouraged to have it on at all time, or paddlers have it on. It basically tracks you when you're out at sea, but in case of emergency, there's a button there that will call us. It will alert our emergency center down in Cape Town, and it just really takes the search out of search and rescue. So we encourage absolutely everybody to have Safe Tracks on their phone and use it when they go out to sea. And then flooding, swift water rescues as well, which I mentioned earlier. So you might actually have to go get people out of flowing rivers or those that are stranded. And so then, of course, the animal rescues.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about this, because I think it's something that we wouldn't have thought that you guys would have got involved in, but it looks like it's quite a hefty part of the role.
What's that, Johno? The animal rescue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
So basically, we rescue any creature that's in trouble, whether it be a penguin, a bird, a dog. In fact, they even rescued a donkey at the Vaal Dam the other day. But a lot of what we do is whale disentanglements, and we will.
Have we lost Tanya there? Is she there?
I didn't mention earlier, but my my husband also is a sea rescue volunteer, as well as part of the training department at head office. And he actually is the national coordinator for all whale rescues. So he has been involved in many of these rescues. And this is an incredibly, incredibly dangerous part of the job that they do. And they literally put their lives on the line when they perform these rescues. In fact, my husband always says, you're not qualified to do a whale rescue until you've been covered in whale snot. So, because they really get up close and personal with these whales. So it's very specialized. We use very specialized equipment. There's a very specialized kind of training techniques that go into it. And you're dealing with an animal that doesn't know you're there to help it. Okay, and it's frustrated, it's angry, it's thrashing around, and it's incredibly dangerous, but incredibly, incredibly rewarding. The picture at the bottom of the screen with the humpback whale's face on the side of the boat, that, normally the whale, the minute you free it, will just swim off as fast as it can. But that particular rescue, they spent 2 days trying to rescue that whale. And when it was a juvenile female, and when they cut the last rope, she swam around the boat and then put her face on the boat, which was so rewarding for our.
Amazing, yeah.
And then the picture at the top, you'll see the loggerhead turtle, Annette. She was rescued. She was found in a net on Kormiki Long Beach with a seal. They were both tangled in the same net. And, this also speaks to, the Run for the Oceans running challenge we've got at the moment. She had a lot of plastic in her stomach, and she couldn't eat. And Two Oceans Aquarium had to look after her for 18 months before she could be released back into the ocean. And she apparently... but like a lot of other South Africans, because there's a tracker on her, so apparently now she's on her way to Australia. So but another successful rescue of an animal.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Tell me something. Getting onto rip currents. I mean, all my surfer mates from Durban have told me, just swim with the current. Tell us about these rip currents now, because I mean,
okay. So look, South Africa has got currents, and rip currents are not very identifiable to somebody that doesn't know, somebody that's not in the know, to the untrained eye, should I say, especially if the sea is incredibly rough. It's difficult to see where the rip currents are. So my official answer on rip currents is swim on beaches where there are lifeguards, and swim between the flags, because that is where it is safe to swim, and that's where there are no rip currents. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen in South Africa. And many, many people, hundreds of people, drown every single year in rip currents in South Africa. So this is, just very quickly, because I know we're going to run out of time. A rip current, to identify a rip current, you look between the waves, between the wave action, you will see a darker patch of water because it's deeper where there's a rip current. So basically what a rip current is, Johno, it's a narrow channel of water traveling fairly fast out to sea. So, the waves come in, crash on the beach, and then the water has to go somewhere. So it forms this narrow channel of water that travels back out beyond the back line of the wave. It's a area of water because it's deeper there, and there's sandbanks on either side. Generally, it's an area where there's no wave action and where there's ripples on the water, or the sand is being churned up by the sea in that area. So when the sea's calmer and when the tide is out, you can generally see where the rip currents are, but not always. So if anybody ever gets caught in a rip current, it's very simple. No one can battle a rip current. Not even the strongest Springbok swimmer will battle a rip current, okay? People need to understand this. So if you get caught in a rip current, the very first thing you need to do is stay calm. You stay calm and relax and keep your head above the water. The more you thrash around and the more you battle the water, the more exhausted you're going to get, and you're going to drown. You're going to swallow water, you're going to drown. So staying calm, key. Putting your hand up, especially if there are lifeguards on the beach, or you've got friends and family on the beach, putting your hand up, waving your hand from side to side and shouting for help is key. And then you can, because the rip current is a narrow channel of water, you can swim to the left or to the right and swim out of the current into the waves and catch the waves back to the beach. Or you can wait for the current to slack off when it gets to the back line and you can swim back to the beach. But don't try and swim against the rip current. Try and keep your head above water, stay calm, stay afloat. That's the key thing. And this leads into why one of the reasons why we're teaching our survival swimming courses, our survival swimming pop-up courses, because staying afloat when you get caught in water is essential. So what we've done is we've launched a new program called Survival Swimming, and this teaches kids or adults to stay afloat by teaching them 4 simple skills: breath control, orientation, propulsion, and extrication. And in that way, once they know those skills, they'll be able to get themselves out of trouble, whether it's in a swimming pool, a river, or in the sea. And we've started basically a pop-up. We've got pop-up 20-minute pop-up classes at this Seapoint swimming baths, and we've also developed a 13-week course that can be taught in various places. And this has also given way to a new type of volunteer. Not everybody wants to become a volunteer and jump in the ocean, but we are looking for people who would like to volunteer to be survival swimming instructors.
Yeah. Just from a stats point of view, like how many people are drowning in South African waters every single year?
Judy, do you want to answer that? Is Judy back?
So, I don't know if you're going to still hear me. Sorry, I seem to be having issues. So 350 children in this country drown every year, and that was a massive concern for us. That's why we started our water safety program. So we have instructors that go into their local areas and they speak their own language and the children's own language, and teach these children how to stay safe in and around water. And on average, we will teach about 500 children every single year. But since we've started this education program, we have actually spoken to 2.8 million children in total. And it's really basic principles, but you will be surprised really that, parents just don't pass information on. So we give tools to kind of know that they should not go into the water without having someone actually give them permission to go into the water. The very important question, like, may I go and swim? Followed by, okay, yes, you may. Will you watch me swimming? Because, there is eyes on.
I think we're just losing.
Are we losing Judy?
Sorry, Judy. We're just losing Judy. Sorry, we're just losing. Yeah. I think we caught the basis of that. You know what I mean? The huge statistics, and the education program is like amazing. To reach that amount of kids. Tell me something.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big question people ask about that, like, also is like funding. Like, how does the NSRI make its money, and where does it come from?
So, Johno, basically, we do. We have an annual operating budget of around about 150 million rand a year. That's to operate our 43 bases, our 1,400 odd crew, and that's just our basic operating budget. So we do have some corporate sponsors. We've got our platinum and strategic partners, and we do some. We've got some government shipping levies and some government grants and some legacies and trusts that come in. But the bulk of our fundraising comes in from the public. Something I wanted to mention here is that we have an annual wine auction. It's one of our biggest fundraising events of the year. So this year will be our 26th annual wine auction. So I definitely am inviting Jeff to purchase a table at our wine auction this year. Okay. And then other ways that you can donate are, we've got our car competition, our very popular car competition, which raises about 28 million. Where you can win 2 Mitsubishi vehicles, a 250,000 Rand cash prize, and an 80,000 Rand holiday. And then our monthly giving draw. So if you want to become a monthly donor to the NSRI, for every 25 Rand that you donate on a monthly basis, you earn a ticket in a monthly draw where we draw 5 10,000 Rand prizes, and you earn a ticket into the December draw where we do a 100,000 Rand draw. So in that way, you are contributing to saving lives. And this, about 90% of our funding of that 150 million annual operating budget comes from the man in the street doing their 25, 50, 100 Rand donations.
Amazing.
Yeah.
For just 25 Rand, I mean, you can't even buy a chappy for 25 Rand, he said.
Exactly.
So that's like, it's nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tell us, how can people get involved?
Okay, so there's various ways you can get involved. One of the things that Judy and I do is that we look after our lifeboat club. This is for retirees. So I'm appealing to all of the over 50s. Look, you can join the lifeboat club if you're under 50. It's 150 Rand annual membership a year. If you're over 50, it's free. As a lifeboat club member, we invite you to events, teas, talks, and base tours, and you get our magazine 3 times a year. Okay. You can also become what we call a bequester, where you can leave a gift in your will. This is something that's very special to us. And it's one of the ways in which we earn money. Okay, you can, like I said, you can become a monthly donor. You can also become a volunteer. So there's various different ways of volunteering. You don't have to become a volunteer and put on a wetsuit and jump on a boat. You can become what we call a shore controller. So a lot of retired crewmen become shore controllers. That's where you're working in the radio control room. And a lot of our kind of retirees who've got time on their hands become what we call coast watchers. So if you live in an area in an elevated position where you've got a view of the coastline, you can actually become a coast watcher, and you can report, if you see something, or if there's somebody in trouble in the water, the coast watchers will often, go and have a look and see what they can see and report back to us. So there are various different ways of getting involved. And we'd love to have as many people join our Sea Rescue family as possible. There's going to be a link in the feed today where you can actually fill in your details and select any of the options available, whether you want to get involved as a volunteer, if you want someone to contact you about becoming a monthly donor, if you want to sponsor a pink boy, or make a once-off donation. We welcome it all, and we'd love to invite all of our Jeff members to the Sea Rescue family.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
That's awesome, guys. Such a cool talk, and informative talk, and I encourage everyone to get involved. I certainly will. It's such a cool cause, man. What is the number, Tan, just before we end off, what is the number we should be putting in our phones if we see someone needs saving, or we have an emergency and we need to get hold of the NSRI?
Johno, it's simple. I teach my kids 1, 1, 2. Whenever I do my school talks, 1, 1, 2. Okay. All you need to do is call the national emergency number 112, and you just ask for Sea Rescue, and it goes straight through to our emergency call center. We have a emergency call center that's manned 24/7, and they coordinate all of our rescues around the country. So yeah, call 112.
Well, listen, Tan, thanks so much for this. This is superb, and it's going to run in nicely to to the weekend, into tomorrow, into Saturday. Let's see how much money we can raise as a community. We are a very giving community, but you can see it's for such an incredible cause, guys. We've helped so many people from different disabilities, from helping the health workers, and now it's an awesome opportunity to help the NSRI for everything they do for us. So I'm excited to see what we can do, how we can raise. Guys, I encourage you, go into that link, have a look, just donate and see what we can come up and, like in January, we raised close to R500,000 Rand in one day.
Yep.
I mean, imagine if we could do the same over the next sort of 3 days, which is going to be quite exciting.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Johno. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a beautiful day, and we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning for the NSRI workout. It's going to be great down here in Knysna.
I will be doing it online, but Judy is joining you in Knysna. Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. So Judy, we'll see
she's
you later.
driving down. She's in PE. She's driving down, yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, that's going to be fantastic.
Cool.
All right. Thanks,
Cool.
Ton. Have a awesome day, guys.
Okay. Thanks, Johno. Chat soon. Bye.
My name's Liesel van der Westhuizen, and my friend Patrick Atherton was recently diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. We've always loved the ocean. That's why I'm helping the NSRI by placing his name on the side of their new rescue boat. So each time they launch to save more lives, he'll be there right by their side. My friend's name is Patrick Atherton, and this is his life-saving legacy. You can leave yours at nsri.co.za.